These are the accounts, guys, that you should be following on Instagram. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope everything's going really well for you. Workouts are going well too. And today, want to go over some of my favorite accounts on Instagram. Now, I've done this video in the past where I went over my 5 favorite ones, and I still highly recommend that you follow those accounts. They included Mike Israetel, Joe Bennett, and a few other ones that I mentioned in the past. Again, definitely go follow these ones. These, on the other hand, the one I'm going to talk about today, are some additional ones that I definitely highly recommend. Now, is this a definitive list? Are these the only ones you should follow? No, but these are a good place to start and good accounts to get some great information from, and you can kind of branch out from there. But at the very least, start here. You don't want to overwhelm yourself by following 100 accounts, okay? But these are a great place to get some good information. So, getting into that first one that I recommend is Marie Spano. Now, she is a nutrition extraordinaire, okay? You're going to learn everything that you could possibly want to know about nutrition, specifically sports nutrition. All right, so anything about diet too, like the truth about GMO, and the fact that it's actually not that bad that a lot of people out in the industry can kind of say that it is, or how much protein and carbohydrates and fats you really need, and stuff like that, okay? She, like I said, is an expert in nutrition. She has a master's degree in this stuff, and she has worked as a sports nutritionist at the highest level, including in the NFL, I think for the Falcons and maybe 1 or 2 other teams at one point, in the MLB, in the NHL as well, I think, and a few other places. So she is highly experienced and highly knowledgeable when it comes to nutrition and diet. Next one here is Coach Zach Even-Esh. Now, when you follow his account, okay, you're not going to get a ton of actual exercise science or tips per se, okay? What you're going to follow him for is more motivation and overall just kind of fun stuff to look at, okay? So he is the founder of Underground Strength Gym in New Jersey, for those who don't know. He's, again, extremely experienced and well-knowledgeable strength coach overall. He specializes in strength training for high school kids or even below, younger kids, okay? But if you had, like, a pro athlete, he absolutely would knock it out of the park with that guy, okay? So when you follow him, you're going to get a lot of motivational stuff, a lot of motivational quotes, and a whole lot of old-school type of feel to it. Now, that's not to say that he's old-school in his teachings or in his learnings, okay? He still learns about the latest stuff, the research and all that, and applies it to his clients, okay? But the way he kind of trains is just lift heavy, go after it, and like I said, kind of an old school type of feel to it. All right, so you're gonna have a lot of fun following him. Next one I wanted you to follow is James Krieger. Now, this guy, again, he is very well known in the research space, okay? He's published multiple studies and papers and peer reviews, meta-analysis, along with Brad Schoenfeld et al., and a number of others. He's the founder of Weightology, which is a service that you do need to subscribe to, but with that, you get a lot of peer review in the latest research that is out. So he'll see a latest study that comes out, he'll review it along with his staff and tell you whether it's legitimate or not, whether the research, the evidence from that is actually sound or not. So I definitely recommend that. Now, you're not going to get that kind of stuff on his Instagram page specifically, okay? You got to pay for the service for that. But having said that, you'll get snippets here or there, and he still will cover some basics in what the latest research does say. All right, after him is Scientist with a Board. Okay, and it's exactly as it sounds, okay? So he is an exercise scientist. He has a PhD in exercise physiology, and every picture he posts up is with him holding a board up there, giving a little snippet, just basic tip, okay? Cutting right through the BS, okay, and just giving you straight up advice when it comes to all this. He's also the author of the latest edition of the Essentials of Personal Training from the NSCA. So if you're looking to get into personal training or become a personal trainer, that is an excellent resource to start with, okay? And there's some extremely well knowledgeable and qualified people who wrote or contributed to that book. Okay, so he's, like I said, one of the main authors along with Brad Schoenfeld, and then you have other guys who, like Eric Helms, who had contributed to multiple chapters throughout the book as well. Okay, so this guy, like I said, just some really main, to the point advice that you're not going to really see anywhere. It's very unique, and I definitely, again, recommend this one. And then after that, Jordan Shallow, the muscle doc. Okay, so he is a chiropractor by practice, okay, but he's also a strength coach. He's highly knowledgeable when it comes to overall biomechanics and movements, again, because, you know, he's a chiropractor, so that's his main background, okay? But you're going to get a lot of great advice when it comes to certain exercises and how those movements relate to the individual and how you should be doing those movements specifically, okay? So there's a lot of unique stuff in his profile, and he does a lot of podcasting too, so he gives out a lot of great information that you're going to learn, like I said, a lot from. So you really cannot go wrong. So if you want more depth into biomechanics and movement, he is the guy to go to. And tying into that, the next guy here is Dr. Pat Davidson. He has a PhD in exercise physiology. Some of you watching this might recognize him because I did an interview with him this past summer. All right, so he is mainly a strength coach, okay, but again, he has a very big grasp on biomechanics and movement, similar to Jordan Shallow, and the two of them know each other and have done seminars together as well. All right, so you're going to learn a ton of movement, specific movement exercises that you may not have tried before, but should try because they're excellent and really work really, really well. So definitely recommend here Dr. Davidson because he kind of gives it in a way that's might fend some people off a little bit, okay? So his type of persona is, you got to get used to a little bit, the way he presents some of the information, but believe me, the information is very sound. Now, getting more into the research side of things, next up is Menno Henselmans, okay? So again, he is in the private sector strength coach. He has a ton of clients, so he has a ton of experience, but what he's mainly known for, if you've seen his profile, is meta-analysis of research, okay? So he's like the king of analysis when it comes to the latest studies in exercise science, right? So if there is a specific one that come out saying volume dictates hypertrophy when this happens, or whatever the study might be, he does a humongous in-depth analysis of it, and he posts it really there on Instagram, so you know whether it's legitimate research or not, and it's something that you should be following or not. Okay, and it gives you great examples on specific exercises, whether those are legitimate or whether you can tie those this research into those exercises or not. Okay, so if you want to know what the latest research is without having to really read those exercise or those research papers yourself, he's a great resource to go to. And then tying into more research is Dr. Eric Helms, again, another guy with a PhD and all this stuff, and also a competitive bodybuilder, natural bodybuilder, okay? He's kind of a champion of total body, like 5 days a week. He did a video with Jeff Nippert that I've posted here before, all right? But again, very, very smart with overall movements, and he has a podcast, tons and tons of episodes on there of endless, valid and priceless information when it comes to overall exercise science, tying in both the research into the practical side as well. All right, so you cannot go wrong with Dr. Helms. And then also in that research space is Dr. Bill Campbell. He is a professor down at University of Southern Florida, I believe that's where he is. Okay, he heads the research lab down there. What's unique about his profile is it's almost like a quiz. And I believe I recommended it in my previous video I did, but I recommend him here again because he has an enormous amount of knowledge that he shares there. So he'll give you like a multiple choice here of A, B, C, and D, and then he'll say, you know, the amount of protein you should have here is, and then you got to click more to see what it is, okay? But it can kind of test your knowledge, how much you know about this, and at the same time make you learn a ton of stuff in this, all right? And he not only gives you the answer, but he fully explains where that answer came from and gives you the citations from the research on it as well, okay? So you will learn so much just from his profile alone and kind of testing yourself as well. So definitely give him a follow, all right? And then another one here, getting a little away from the research and more towards the coaching side, is Coach Brett Bartholomew. All right, now he's a little bit more unique, kind of like Coach Even-Esh, Zach Even-Esh there. Coach Bartholomew here doesn't give you so much tips on exercise specifically. It's more of that coaching. He has a service called Art of Coaching, where he teaches you about not only coaching but leadership and things like that, how to actually motivate and follow your passion and stuff like that, okay? And it kind of ties in with the fitness. That is what his background is. He is a strength coach, okay? But he made a main career out of leadership and motivation and tying it in with the fitness industry, okay? So you're going to get a ton of motivation from him when you follow his, okay? And if you ever had a passion for coaching yourself, another valuable resource to follow. So definitely do that one, all right? Now, rounding it out here a little bit, just a couple more. Next is Aragon, okay? So for those who don't know, he's well-known in the research community, all right? So he has trained a ton of clients, of course, okay? But he's also published numerous research papers with Brad Schoenfeld et al., James Krieger, all right? All these guys that I've mentioned before. He's very well known in this space, and he has a research review on his website as well, similar to like Weightology. So it cuts through all the BS, letting you know what is actually legitimate, what you should be following, and the latest research on pretty much any topic you can think of. And again, on his profile there, he gives off a ton of information, both in exercise itself and diet as well. Like nutrition is kind of his forte as well, so you're going to learn a ton of that. And now I just have a couple more. Next is Dr. Spencer Nadolsky. Now he is from Renaissance Periodization. He's from that camp, all right, along with Mike Israetel. Dr. Nadolsky, he is an actual doctor, okay? That's what he specializes in. He specializes in obesity, all right, in obese patients and helping them to lose weight. But his profile goes over a ton of diet and basic nutrition tips on weight loss and stuff like that. So if you're ever looking to actually lose weight, he is a valuable resource for that, because again, he not only gives off really great information that you should be following and cutting through a lot of BS, like the fact that artificial sweeteners are not as harmful as we think they are. A lot of people will say they are, or stuff like that, okay? But he does it with a lot of fun twists. He posts a lot of memes and stuff like that. So there's a lot of comedy tied in with it. But again, you're still going to learn a ton of stuff with him, all right? And then I also want to mention here Martin MacDonald, okay? So you're tying again into that nutrition side of it. I think, again, I mentioned him in the last video, but again, want to mention him here, all right? He is an expert in nutrition, right up there with Marie Spano, all right? So, again, he cuts through a lot of the BS, a lot of comedy type of elements into it, okay? But again, you will be getting the absolute truth when it comes to nutrition and stuff like that with him. All right, so guys, these are a lot of the accounts here that I highly recommend that you follow. Okay, like I said, this is not a definitive list. This isn't everybody. I'm sure I'm missing some people, or if there's somebody specifically that you like to follow, comment down below, okay? And so everybody else can see, and we can all follow each other kind of that way. Jeff Schoenfeld is another great guy. Krishna Thibodeau is another one that you could certainly follow. Some of the other ones I mentioned before in the previous video, Joe Bennett, all right, Mike Israetel, all those guys. There's so many out there that are great, that'll give off a ton of great information. Dave Tate from Elite FTS, he has a thing right now going on where he's giving like almost free basic online coaching advice from a video that you might post. All right, so a lot of good stuff there. There's a lot of crap, honestly, on Instagram to sift through, but these that I recommend, all right, will kind of help you sift through that stuff and see what you should be seeing and help you to learn a lot of stuff, right? So I hope you guys found this really useful. Definitely give these guys a follow, me, of course, and you will learn a ton, I promise. All right, guys, so moving forward, definitely more reviews coming up really, really soon. I definitely promise you with that. All right, and I will see you guys next week.